Okay, today I will give you a general lecture in statistics. So the first, statistics. What is statistics? What is statistics? Statistics is a science in which you collect data, in which you represent data, and then you interpret data. Statistics has two types. One is descriptive statistic and the second one is inferential statistics. In descriptive statistics, we just describe the data in the form of mean, median, mode, standard deviation and variance. These are the 5 parameters that we use for descriptive statistics. The 5 parameters are mean, median, mode, standard deviation and variance. Listen again: mean, median, mode, standard deviation and variance. These are the 5 things on the basis of which we describe data in descriptive statistics. The second type of statistics is inferential statistics. In inferential statistics, what we do, we take the sample results and generalize those sample results on population. In inferential statistics, we take the sample results and generalize it on the larger population. But on what basis we generalize the sample results on population? When we want to generalize the results, so we need some statistical tests. Those tests are called inferential tests. The first inferential test is comparison test. The second inferential test is a relationship test, and the third inferential test is prediction test. So mainly we have 3 types of inferential tests: comparison test, relationship test and prediction test. We have 3 types of inferential tests: the comparison test, the relationship test and the prediction test. The comparison test is of 2 types: 2-group comparison and more than 2-group comparison. 2-group comparison is t-test and more than 2-group comparison is ANOVA. The relationship test is a Pearson correlation test. The prediction test is a regression test. So we have said that statistic is the science in which you collect data, you organize data, you test data and you interpret data. Statistics has 2 types: descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. In descriptive statistics, we describe the data based on mean, median, mode, standard deviation and variance. While in inferential statistics, we take the sample results and generalize it on the larger population based on 3 types of tests. The first test is comparison test, the second test is relationship test, the third test is prediction test. The comparison test is of 2 types. One is 2-group comparison and the second is more than 2-group comparison. If it is 2-group comparison, this is t-test. If it is more than 2-group comparison, this is ANOVA test. The relationship test is Pearson correlation test and the prediction test is a regression test. So now let's go ahead. In t-test, you have 2 groups, for example, male and female. While in ANOVA, you have more than 2 groups, for example, age groups: 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30. These are 3 groups. And in Pearson correlation, you have 2 variables. One is independent variable and second one is dependent variable, and you want to correlate these independent and dependent variable. While in regression, again you have one independent variable and one dependent variable, but in regression you want to check the effect or impact or influence of independent variable on dependent variable. There is a difference between correlation and regression. In correlation, you only check the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. In correlation, you only check the relationship or association or connection between independent variable and dependent variable. While in regression, you check the impact or effect or influence of independent variable on dependent variable. So now this is clear. Now let's go ahead. The regression is of two types. One is simple linear regression and the other is multiple linear regression. Regression is of two types. First is simple linear regression and the second is multiple linear regression. In simple linear regression, you have only one independent variable and one dependent variable. In simple linear regression, you have only one independent variable and one dependent variable. While in multiple regression, you have one dependent variable, but you have two independent variables or more than two independent variables. Again, in simple linear regression, you have one independent variable and one dependent variable, while in multiple regression, you have one dependent variable and you have 2, 3 or 4 independent variables. The second difference is, for the correlation, you will use the word association, the word connection or the word relation. For correlation, you will use the word association or connection or relation. But for the regression, you will use the word impact, effect or influence. So this was the general statistical lecture. I hope you liked it. Please share this video with your friends, with your colleagues, with other students who want to learn about statistics. Thank you so much.